Alright guys, BLM here, back with more Final Fantasy 15, continuing on. And this will probably be it for today. Oh yeah, I was listening to RHAP, so I guess I might as well continue with that. Yeah, it has a 30 minutes exact, so that's pretty perfect.
And they agree to it. They're very frustrated with Brayden because of, again, they're still mad about him being exposed as for working with Roe. And now that they know that he's against them and all, they can't stand him. He doesn't do anything but hang out with them. He is treating them like they're Austin, and he won't leave them alone. Jed just wants to make out with Beth all day, and Brayden keeps popping in and stopping it from happening. And Ty is, in particular, does not want to have to deal with the cuddling anymore. It's a bit much, and he really hopes that that he or Brayden doesn't win the HOH, because then he would be forced to deal with it on a much larger scale. And so they're like, you know what? Yeah, let's get Brayden out. Why not? The plan is to backdoor Brayden. Terra ends up winning the veto, and there you go. The plan should be in play here, except Jed changes his mind, as Jed wants to do, or is wont to do, and he wants to take out Kiefer instead. You know what? Kiefer is a bigger target and bigger threat at this point. Sure. This is, again, a game-saving moment for Brayden. Unfortunately, we don't know a whole lot about why it happened. The plan was very much set in stone to take out Brayden, and it had been all week, or at least most of the week. And then the feeds came back from the veto, and Jed was just like, we're doing Kiefer, and what we saw in the episode was, we caught him. We don't know exactly what changed here, apart from the fact that they just kind of went, you know what? Kiefer is the bigger move. Kiefer is the bigger threat, and so they instead decided to put Kiefer on the block. They tell Kiefer, everyone cries, and they all get upset that Brayden, Tina, and Terra are still in the game. They don't deserve to be in the game. Ty wants Terra out next, then Brayden. He wants Tina in the final four at this point in the game. Terra checks in with Brayden to make sure he's still against the trio, and he expresses to the cameras afterwards that he is surprised that she's not targeting him, and he doesn't know what to do. So where's Brayden's head at in this moment? I think it has been that he thinks he's still working with the trio. And he thinks that Terra is against him, perhaps because of Terra's explosion during the HOH competition, where she called everyone cowards. I'm not sure, but it seems like after Roe left, he transitioned fully to just working with the trio. That is at least until Kiefer then tells Brayden, "Hey,
that must feel good.
I was in an alliance called the Sunsetters." Kiefer, who feels burned by the trio, tells Brayden about the Sunsetters, and they end up bonding over their late-night chats. Thus, when Kiefer ends up flipping the trio back around to keeping him, this actually kind of works out for Brayden, because he is now cool with Kiefer, and they've bonded, and they're going to work together. So Tina is evicted.
Already had it?
And
so you had the Charlie just for sake of it?
Kiefer number 1, Terra number 2, Ty number 3, and Brayden last. She does mention that Brayden could improve his odds with her if he did something, but this is her list. I do think that that Terra would be that Kiefer would be number 1, Terra would be number 2. That's locked in for Tina. A little bit more interchangeable here, but we will have to wait and see on that one. So we head into week 8, and Terra wins this HOH. Huge for Brayden, because if Terra does not win this HOH, then things are looking very bad. It's Brayden and Terra on the block, and one of them is for sure going home, and the trio stays intact going into the final 5. It's not going to be good. It's not going to be good, but Terra pulls out the win. And with this win, she pulls in Brayden and Kiefer. It's 3v3, and they make the final 3. They end up making a billion final 2s. But the time has finally come to take a shot at the trio. Jed and Ty are going to go up on the block. Beth, though, decides she wants to make her mark on the game and comes up with a plan to get Tara to nominate Brayden so that they can vote him out. But Kiefer rats her out and gives Brayden the heads up, so when Beth approaches him about volunteering for the block, he's like, no? Because guys, Brayden would never voluntarily go on the block. Come on. That would never happen. He is not that kind of player.
Replenish our supply of curatives. Gotcha.
Kiefer also helps flip Ty after this, and Ty and Brayden's relationship really starts to blossom after Ty feels like Beth was trying to get him out. That's the line that Kiefer sells Ty, that hey, this plan was a plan to get you out, Ty, which of course it was not, but Ty seems to buy into it and is very pissed at Beth and Jed. From this point forward, he points to this moment as one of the turning moments for him in the game. And so from this point forward, Ty and Brayden's relationship really starts to blossom. Tara ends up putting Jed and Beth on the block instead of Jed and Ty. Then when Jed wins the veto, Kiefer comes up with a plan to get him to use it on Beth. Tara pitches this to Jed, Kiefer and Beth help sell it, and the plan is on. Jed is going to do it. Ty is going to go up on the block, except the last minute Tara changes her mind. She does not want to piss off Jed by putting up Ty. So she tells Brayden, look, I know I told you I would never put you up this week because I don't trust that they won't vote to keep you. But I'm gonna need you to go up on the block anyway. But look, if you don't want to do it, if there's any part of you that doesn't want to go up on the block, just say the word, and I won't put you up there.
I just want to check.
And Brayden says,
make sure there's no...
That's good. I trust you. Yeah, 100%.
No, she's all the way over there now.
Block, in a spot where Kiefer, Ty, and Beth are the votes against Jed. And I don't... If there's any part of you that says, well, he didn't get voted out, then you should know that it's still way better for him if he's not on the block. Because then he gets to be one of the people voting out the other person. And he at least gets 1 week where he doesn't look like an incredibly passive player. Of course, he is. He agrees to go up on the block. He is willing to go on the block, it turns out. This is... Like, literally, this is just as bad as him agreeing to do Beth's plan, because it's the exact same as Beth's plan. Literally, this is Beth's plan, except a few days later. So Jed uses the veto on Beth. Brayden goes up as the replacement. Everybody ends up making final twos with everybody. He makes a final two with Ty. Kiefer makes a final two with him. Tara makes a final two with him. And Tara makes a final two with Ty. Tara makes a final two with Kiefer. So on and so forth. Brayden on to Ty much more significantly this week. They continue to hang out and cuddle and all that stuff. And it all works out in the end as Jed is evicted unanimously. Jed's jury list when he speaks to me is Kiefer first, Tara and Ty are tied in the middle, and Brayden is in last place. He does mention that Brayden could maybe move up the ranks if he does anything in the game. We head to the fake double eviction. Ty wins the HOH and puts Beth and Tara on the block. Oh, sorry, I should be counting these. So the Jed is the fourth person in this jury. Brayden now is down 4 votes to Kiefer, of course, but it is actually tied. Roe and Victoria put Brayden second place behind Kiefer, so they are both above Ty and Tara, or he is above both Ty and Tara for them, but below Ty and Tara for Jed and Tina. So it's 2-2. In the fake double eviction, Ty wins the HOH. He puts up Beth and Tara. He wants Tara gone, even though Kiefer and Brayden do not. Brayden ends up winning the veto, his first competition, and does not use the veto to help get what he wants, right? He wants Beth gone. He wants Tara to stay. Easy way to do that, use the veto on Beth. Make sure that, use the veto on Tara. Make sure that Beth goes home if that's what he wants. Or he can make a big move. Use the veto on Tara and send Kiefer out the door. Or use the veto on Beth and send Kiefer out the door. He does not. He does not use the veto. And when Ty tells him he wants Tara gone, he says, okay. he votes out Tara. Misses an opportunity to finally make a mark on the game here with his first bit of power. Now Tara is going to beat Jed to come back into the game, and that's going to give Brayden a second chance at the week, and he wins the next HOH here in week 9. His second competition in a row. This is exactly what he needs in this game. Some power. He needs to make an imprint on this game. He needs to do something, right? He decides he's going to put up Beth and Tara.
Look at this guy.
Again, it's the same nominations as Ty, and that's, you know, it is what it is. But this time, at least, he wants Beth to leave, and that is going to be the impact he makes on the game, is that Beth is going to leave this time and not Tara. So Brayden ends up winning the veto as well, which makes 3 competitions in a row, which is fantastic for his game if you care about competitions and not necessarily what people do with competitions. He ends up not using the veto, and on her way out, Beth is going to warn everyone that Kiefer's going to win this game and that Brayden is making a huge mistake by not taking a big shot because he has nothing on his resume. Now, luckily, at the same time, Ty has been massively screwing up his jury management with both Jed and Beth. And this, more than anything, may be the reason why Brayden ends up winning this game. The Ty screwing up his jury management thing. Beth is evicted unanimously, and when she speaks to me, her jury list is Kiefer number 1, Tara number 2, Brayden number 3, and Ty last because he's been screwing up. Now, again, that's pretty massive because now Brayden is down 3-2 against Tara, but he is up 3-2 against Ty, obviously still losing 5-0 against Kiefer.
Fuck, which one was it?
Up 3-2 on Ty, and if Beth is able to talk to Jed and get Jed to put Brayden above Ty as well, then that means it's actually 4-1 against Ty right now. And that is a great place to be for Brayden, considering that Ty thinks he handily beats Brayden. So this is really starting to look like one of those Ty makes a mistake and Brayden wins the game scenarios. So in week 10, this final week, Ty wins the final 4 HOH. Both him and Brayden want to be in the final 2 together. He nominates Kiefer and Tara. Tara ends up winning the veto, and she doesn't think that anybody's taking her in either scenario. Seems to be leaning toward evicting Kiefer. That is what we expect likely happened, but we do not know for sure. It is possible that Brayden is evicted here. If he was evicted, I would say it is at least 80% because he slept in the same bed as Ty the night after the Final 4 veto when he lost and Tara had the power to evict one of them, and he showed exactly where he stood, and he continually tells Tara that he may have feelings for Ty,
We've got our own tales to worry
which,
about first.
you know, is a choice.
I am not into wildlife. More of a pet
So,
Stop bitching. Stop
that's the game here for Brayden. You know, you'll notice that there's not a whole lot of action that Brayden took here. A lot of this game recap was recapping what other people did and how that impacted Brayden. And that's because Brayden, again, is not an active player. And, you know, that's not necessarily a knock on Brayden. I mean, I think that he, you know, he's a likable guy. Let's summarize this game.
I hope she doesn't live here.
Brayden enters the game. He bonds with just a few people. He connects with Austin, Julie, and Ro a little bit. Julie is soon evicted, and he sticks like glue to Austin. His social game leaves a significant amount to be desired in this early game, in my opinion. When Ro says that Brayden has a good social game, I very much disagree. He's never seen without Austin in the game and is caught talking trash to other players. He makes 0 strategic connections in a week where his closest ally is the HOH, and he is, in my opinion, easily the worst player in the entire game at this point in time. Again, Austin is the first real HOH in week 2, and Brayden uses that opportunity to make 0 social or strategic connections outside of Austin, Rowe, and maybe a little bit Vic. That's social. Strategic, zero. Zero strategic connections in a week where his closest ally is HOH, and that's because he sticks like glue to his closest ally and just talks socially with her, barely talking strategy, and doesn't seem to have any idea where he is or what game he's playing at this point. He catches a massive break when the Sunsetters can't manage a single simple flip that would have decimated what was left of his game and led to a potential steamroll here, and they completely exposed themselves. This gives Kyle and Rowe an opportunity to help form a resistance alliance after previously suspecting that they couldn't trust Braden and Austin, and again, this is huge for Braden in the game, and his game equity rises significantly here. Vic ends up winning the next HOH, which is another huge break for Braden, and she goes after Toya, and the Oddballs officially form. Now, he's still not set up very well within the Oddballs, and he's still not playing actively at all or leaving Austin's side, but his positioning, again, has improved significantly. Kiefer wins the next HOH, and he helps Kiefer flip Victoria against himself by making a huge mistake when him and Austin fall into that trap of trying to get Victoria nominated. Being generally agreeable and the least threatening of the four on the losing end of this stick should keep him safe, relatively safe for a little while longer. That is until Victoria wins the Invisible HOH, comes back to bite him in a big way as him and Austin are nominated for eviction. And he actively campaigns for his own eviction multiple times as he tries to get people to use the veto on Austin. Luckily for him, he fails, and Austin is not vetoed off the block. When Rowe doesn't use that veto, it saves Braden's life in the game, and Austin leaves, which helps Braden out in many ways. With Austin finally out of the game, Braden finally branches out and spends all of his time in the HOH room with the trio during Beth's reign. This is initially successful, and he's able to help keep the Vic backdoor on track, playing both sides for part of the week. But when Vic rats out the Oddballs and exposes that he's still working with Rowe, the trio turns on him, and he falls into a very precarious position yet again. He is able to make a bond with Ty, but that bond is very, very loose at this point, and pretty much broken by the time that he is ratted out. He is going to be evicted with the wrong veto outcome, but again manages to survive due to somebody else winning the veto, and Rowe loses that competition and is voted out. Braden now feels locked into working with the trio and helps Jed win the following HOH, a move perhaps made out of desperation, thinking that he couldn't win it, as the trio is sick of him being around them all the time, and he quickly becomes the backdoor target. But he is saved by the indecisiveness of the trio as they decide to backdoor Kiefer instead. This is another big break for Braden, of course, as Kiefer then spills about the Sunsetters and ends up staying anyway. Tara finally pulls out a clutch win for both her and Braden, because this is again great for Braden, and pulls Braden and Kiefer in to take a shot at the trio. Kiefer uses Beth's absurd plan to fully flip Ty against the trio and get Beth nominated next to Jed. Kiefer also comes up with a plan to get Jed to use that veto on Beth, which eventually ends up with Braden allowing himself to be put up as a pawn next to Jed with Ty. With Ty, Kiefer, and Beth being the votes. This is the key example of the passivity that Braden has displayed throughout the game, though there are plenty of other examples.
Director of The Witcher 3 has left CD Projekt Red.
Nominating Tara and Beth, wanting to evict Tara. Braden doesn't want her gone, but when he wins the veto, he doesn't use it and votes Tara out. Second and third competitions in a row, and exerts his will on the house to make sure that Beth leaves instead of Tara this time. With at least some momentum behind him on the backs of those competition wins, Braden heads into the final four, where Ty wins the HOH and Tara wins the veto, leaving him potentially vulnerable to Tara evicting him, though she did seem to be leaning more toward evicting Kiefer. So, Braden. Braden is a passive player. That is Braden. Everything about his game is passive, from the decisions that he makes, the people that he talks to, and even just the way that he speaks to people. It is passive. There are very few examples of him making a move that was fully his own in the entirety of his game. Similarly to Tara, he's a player that didn't have any agency until the late game when he started winning a couple of competitions. Unlike Tara, when people say that Tara wasn't playing for the first half of the game, that's not true. Tara was not. And arguably, Brayden hasn't been playing the game until this late game, where even then he is in part playing the game that is in front of him. I can't say that Brayden's not playing the game here in the end. Again, he chooses to take out Beth instead of Tara, which is not what Ty wanted initially, at least. But that's pretty much the only thing that he has done that is his own. That's unfortunate. His saving grace is that he has an awesome personality. While his social game was very much lacking throughout most of the season, he is a very naturally likable person, and that, combined with the lack of competition wins, prevented him from being a threat worthy of being a primary target. He was often a secondary target, but very few times was he a primary target. And there's clear potential for Brayden if and when he decides to put in the work, but those moments are very rare in the game. His social game, again, needs work. He does not actively or strategically talk with people. He doesn't branch out. He barely speaks to his own allies if they're not his best friends, and he just he latches on to the people closest to him, and those are the people he spends time with. For me, social game is not that you are able to be generally likable. Social game is you're able to game your social ability and make.
I'm getting a phone call from someone I don't know, so I'm not going to answer it. How far are we? We're still quite a ways away. This really is taking a while, isn't it? Huh.
People in multiple areas of the house. That is very much not Brayden. Brayden is you're my person, and everybody else I'll just be like, yes to, and then they'll be like, okay, well, Brayden's fine, I guess. Social game left a lot to be desired, but again, very likable person, very neutral, very inoffensive, and that can go a long way, especially in a house that is formatted in the way that this one was. And I do think, again, there are a couple of times in this game when Austin is evicted in the first half of that Beth HOH reign. We see that Brayden has some potential. He gets in with the trio, and he's playing both sides for a few days there, and you can see that there's potential. He's put in a place where he is having to actively play the game a little bit, and he does well. If Brayden was actively playing the game more often, I think that he would have been able to put himself in much better positions. Obviously, he is in here in the end game, but that does not necessarily mean that he played a good game to get there. I do think he's capable of playing a good game. I think that his awesome personality and his ability to be very inoffensive and non-threatening to people can work for him very well in the game if he applies it in a more active way. But in this game, that is not really what happened. That's just sort of where we stand. It does not mean, however, that he can't win this game. His bond with Ty is easily the most valuable thing he has, and he plans to go to the Final 2 with Ty, and Ty has really dropped the ball with his jury management lately. We obviously can't know if Brayden would have wanted to go to the Final 2 with Ty, even if he hadn't screwed up his jury management, but either way, it may work out for him. I mean, I think if we're looking at this situation, we're looking at Brayden being willing to go to the end with Ty. And he said in the diary room that he thinks he can beat Ty. Now, I don't know if he thinks he can beat Ty because it's become obvious that Ty sucks at jury management, or if he thinks he can beat Ty because he just wants to go to the end with Ty anyway. if Ty hadn't screwed up his jury management with Jed and Beth, would Brayden still want to go to the end with him? Because if he hadn't, I don't think Brayden would be capable of beating Ty, and he would have a better shot against Tara. But
Take a look at this.
What about
Ty
it?
did screw up his jury management. So it's a tough situation. I mean, honestly, I think that Brayden probably would be going to the end with Ty, regardless of whether he screwed up his jury management. But it's impossible to know. And at the very least, we seem to be hearing from Brayden that he does think he can beat Ty, and he may not be wrong.
Okay.
So if Brayden wins this game, it's going to be because he is a very likable guy. He knows how to make people feel comfortable when he talks to them. And he survived to the end game where he was able to pull out some wins and sit next to
Don't know how the fuck we got it, but whatever.
didn't have good jury management, and he got lucky that the person that he wanted to work with ended up not having good jury management. If he loses,
You cannot kill
it's because
me.
he is a
No
very,
man
very
can
passive player,
murder
and
me.
he never made enough of an impact on the jury, or
I don't know why that's
did
like
not
always
put
stuck in my
himself in
head.
a position where he was able to secure a spot to the final two,
So-
again, because of how passively he played the game.
So she doesn't have anything else?
That's Brayden. And I promise, I did work hard to try to pull as much positive as I could into this recap, because I do like Brayden a lot. I think that he has a lot of potential in this game, but when it comes to what happened in the game, there's not a lot to praise. But I do think that it is definitely a deserved one. I think that it's not going to be the best win. It's not going to be the most dominant win or anything like that. But at the end of the day, there is something very valuable to being a very likable person and being able to not piss people off. You'd think that's easy. You'd think that's a given, but people are not able to do it most of the time.
Okay.
So you gotta give him some credit for that. And that's Brayden. That's where we're at. So that's what I have for you for Brayden here. It's definitely been an interesting game for him. But that's where we are. I will be talking about Kiefer on Thursday. So tomorrow
what you
we'll
doing?
be taking a day
Nothing
off.
much.
It'll be good to have an extra day to prepare for Kiefer anyway. This also gives me the opportunity that if on Wednesday night Kiefer ends up being evicted anyway, maybe we end up not having to do it at all. But the plan is for Thursday morning, the morning of the finale. I will go over Kiefer's game if, of course, he ends up staying in that episode,
But
which
it was
is
fun.
definitely possible.
Every day's fun.
Because we do not
Even
know
when we
what
almost
could
get
have
ourselves
happened
killed.
in that in that hour.
I never
before
imagined
the
it'd work out like
eviction
this.
actually happened.
That I'd get to go on an
You know,
adventure with you
people
guys.
love to change their
Who
mind.
would have thought, huh?
So we may have just talked about Brayden for nothing.
So,
but
how long have we been
that's
friends
the
now?
plan for now. So
Let's
nothing
see.
tomorrow
Beginning
morning.
of high
Do not
school.
expect anything tomorrow
So
morning.
that's
But keep
5
an eye
years?
out for
Yeah,
Thursday morning.
We've known each other way longer than that.
And
Ever since
that's what we've
elementary
got. So
school, right?
tonight we're gonna have our
You
last
still remember that?
during
Can
the
hardly
season
forget being
roundtable,
God,
where
Dad.
we're going to be rating these players
Well,
and
you know,
their
it
chances
isn't
to
exactly
win and
easy
everything
being
like
in the
that.
presence of royalty.
And that should be a
And
lot
when
of
we
fun.
did
You
meet
can
in high
find
school, we
the
pretended
survey
it was the
for
first
the Science
time.
Roundtable
Yeah,
on Twitter.
the
at
first time I
Armstrong
worked up
Terran.
the
If you wanna
nerve to
fill it
say
out,
something.
Rate the players yourself. Try to predict the jury
Feels
votes.
just like yesterday.
There will be a
You should
survey
have
there.
said something
You can
sooner.
find on my Twitter page. That'll be tweeting out very soon. And
knocked.
then on Wednesday,
You just wouldn't
we'll be
understand.
recapping the Wednesday night episode. Thursday, we'll be live. I'll be live during the
then,
episode on Thursday on Twitch,
I was-
twitch.tv/Taron Armstrong, watching the episode with you guys, reacting to it in the moment.
Actually,
and then after the episode,
never
we'll
mind.
be live to recap the finale of Big Brother Canada 9, where we will crown a winner of the season. And oh boy, will that be fun. I mean, what a great cast. I mean, these
Hey,
game recaps so
can't just
far,
stop halfway.
they're not the most impressive game recaps,
Yeah,
right?
I
Like,
know.
the games that have been played have not been the most impressive
I
games
used to
in the
be
world.
super shy.
But
Couldn't talk to people.
they were still
No surprises,
fun.
but
and they
I
were
had
fun
no
because
friends.
it was such a great
At
cast
least
and it was
not
such a
real
great
ones.
season that there were things
I was
happening
always
every week
alone.
that were fun to go over.
And there were times when I felt
So
worthless.
it's been a great season. I hope you enjoyed these game recaps. I know that if you're a fan of some of these players that you may have wished that they had been a little more complimentary game-wise, but
what's
if
been bugging you?
if it consoles you and it's any consolation,
when you look at me,
I'm definitely a fan
you
of them
wouldn't think that I'm anything
personality-wise
but a
and,
fun-loving,
and
happy-go-lucky
cast
joker.
season-wise.
But
It's
that
been
isn't
such
the
a,
real
it's
me.
such a pleasure
Behind all the quips and
going
laughs,
over this season
I'm a
once
mess
again
of
here
hang-ups.
as we reach
I've
the
always
end of
felt
it. So,
inferior to you guys.
thank you guys so much
I'm not
for
royalty,
joining
and
us
I'm
here
not strong.
today. And
I'm
I will
nothing,
see
really.
all of you
Unlike Gladio, I'm not good with people.
next time.
The way he connects with them, he's operating on a different level. Unlike Ignis, I'm not smart, and I can't cook to save myself. But when we hang out, it's so much fun. I forget what I'm not. Then reality hits me like a splash of cold water, and I remember that I don't belong. But I want to. Every moment, I'm desperate to earn my place, to prove that I'm good enough.
Think what you will, but I think you're good enough for me.
So, you really think I'm doing okay?
Yeah, I do. Anything else?
No, nothing at all. I'm sorry I got so real all of a sudden.
You should know better by now. You think I just make time for any old loser?
Huh? Why, you mad, bro? Seriously, though. Thanks for making time for this loser. Feels good to get that off my chest.
Happy to hear.
All right, I'm gonna keep on keeping on the only way I know how.
Yeah, you do that.
Alright, we're probably gonna end here. Alright. So, fuck. Now I meant to push is... Yeah, I mean, we'll figure out what we're gonna do next episode. Yeah, we'll end here. Again, not entirely sure what I want to do tonight, if I'm going to stream or if I'm going to play Final Fantasy 15. We'll see. We'll see how I feel tonight, and then yeah, we'll see how I feel moving forward. Again, tomorrow I should be mostly free. I kind of realized that I might actually go and pick up some stuff as a Mother's Day gift for my mom, obviously, this coming Sunday. I might do that tomorrow, considering that's the, like, yeah, as I said, it's like the day that I have the least going on, so, at least in the morning, like, obviously later in the day, I have Big Brother Canada, Big Brother Australia, Circle, well, all that stuff, but we'll figure it out. But we'll end here. We'll see what I do tonight, but for now, thanks for watching.